Hello everyone and welcome. I'm Roberto Linto Barzotti and I'm a creator of PyNarrative, a Python library that I developed to make data storytelling simple and powerful. And today I'm going to show it directly within your beloved Jupyter notebooks. Have you ever heard of data storytelling? It's the art of combining data visualization with a compelling narrative to help your audience understand the real message hidden within the numbers, make information not only comprehensible but also memorable and capable of driving action. PyNarrative was created precisely with this object, to bridge the gap between simple visualization and complete data narration. Imagine being able to guide your audience through the data as if you were telling a story, step by step. PyNarrative is built on another fantastic library that you surely know, Altair. So, if you are familiar with Altair, you'll feel right at home. This project originated during my master thesis in digital humanity under the supervision of Professor Angelica Loduca. So, ready to see how it works? Let's start right away with the installation. To install PyNarrative in your Jupyter notebook, open a code cell and type pip install PyNarrative. It's that simple. Make sure you have Python 3.6 or 8 installed. The pandas and Altair library, which are fundamental for PyNarrative, will be installed automatically if you don't already have them. Once installed, let's import the libraries we'll need. Perfect. Now let's move on to our case study. We will analyze a dataset from IMDb to explore the growth cinema in the early 90s, specifically between 1900 and 1915. First, let's load the IMDb dataset using pandas. In the tutorial prepare, the file path is. Remember to replace this path with the path of your file. Let's take a first look at the data width. As you can see, we can immediately get an idea of what the dataset contains. Usually at this point we proceed with data cleaning. For example, we can check for missing value width. And we might decide to remove rows or columns with too many missing values, or handle them in another way. For this example, let's assume we have done our cleaning operations and saved the results in the new file. Now let's load the cleaned dataset for our analysis. And let's prepare the data for visualization. We want to see how the number of films produced on their average rating change over time. Let's aggregate the data by year. Finally, let's filter the data for the period we are interested in. Excellent. Now we are ready for the fun part, creating our narrative visualization with PyNarrative. The first step is to create a story object passing our filtered data frame. We can special font such as done in this case. Now let's create our base chart. We can make a bar chart to see the number of films produced by year. Once the base chart is created, we can start adding narrative elements. Let's start with a manifold title. As you can see, with add title, we can specify the text, color, and size of the title, and also move it vertically with the DY or horizontal with DX. Let's don't forget to cite the data source. With add source, we can add the source in different positions. Now, let's make the chart more understandable by adding context. With add context, we can add blocks for text in different positions of the chart, such as on the left in this case. We can also align the text and specify offsets and font size. To highlight a specific point, such as the peak production year, we can use annotations. With add annotation, we can specify the coordinates of the point to annotate, the annotation text, the direction, and the style of the arrow, and the position of the text. To make our story interactive, we can add next steps. As you can see, we can add buttons with external links, or with line step to suggest linear information. Furthermore, with star step sequence to suggest further data exploration. Finally, we can add a reference line to highlight an important year. With add line, we can add horizontal vertical lines at specific values. To visualize our complete narrative chart, all we have to do is call the render method. It will display the interactive chart with all the narrative elements we have added. As you have seen, PyNarrative greatly simplifies the process of transforming simple visualization into engaging data stories. It requires far fewer lines of code compared to traditional approach and allows you to focus on the message you want to communicate. I invite you to try PyNarrative on your project. You can find all the useful links in the video description, on GitHub, documentation, and on PyPy page. I hope this tutorial has been helpful to you. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below. Thank you for your attention. See you next time. Goodbye.